Sills, is the MVP for quarterbacks the best player or the player who's playing the best? Let's ask Garry Cobb that. Fox 29's own Garry Cobb, he joins us now here. And Garry, give me your definition of what an MVP is in your eyes and how you quantify that.
Well, I think that I would, try to say the most valuable player. And, of course, the quarterback gets a lot of attention in that situation. But, the player that affects and helps his team the most. I think that, you can have a dominant defensive MVP. I've seen players you've seen that were worthy of it, like, LT and some great players who affect like almost every snap. A player who dominates the game to that extent. So I could see where, you could have there have been running backs, when the game was different. The game now is a pass dominated game. So the quarterbacks have more of an effect on the game. But I definitely think it's supposed to be a player who affects and helps his team the most. So I think it's very tough to say that let's say a right tackle, offensive tackle is doing that because, yeah, he can dominate his guy, but is he really helping the team win? Because there could be a guy coming from the other side getting to the quarterback and things. So it really nullifies what he's doing. But if you got that quarterback, or let's say it's a wide receiver who is so dominant that he just affects and helps his team win, that's what I think it should be. But of course, I can understand arguments from different people, but I think that's what it is. It's a player that affects the game. Yeah,
I completely. I think it's a guy like if you took that dude off that team, how's your team look? And
yeah,
let me go here with Jalen here, and maybe Garry, this is something because you and I were raised in the drop back quarterback, winning from the pocket, and all this such.
Yeah,
I said this. Face of the league today, when you talk about the four quarterbacks, is Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Justin Herbert with the Chargers. Those, when people look at prototypical quarterbacks and how to build their team, they want those four dudes. Now, Jalen's kind of breaking down barriers because look at this, Garry. If he ends the season and he's going to put cumulative numbers up, like today on December 12th, Garry, you're going to look at his numbers compared to Mahomes and go, he's really not in the league. But then at the end of the year, you go like this. Okay, 16-1.
Yeah.
He's 4,100 passing yards, 29 touchdown passes, 900 rushing, and 13 TDs. And he's 16-1. I mean, even if Mahomes throws for 55 touchdowns and 5,500 yards, and say they end up with only 3 losses, I mean, that'd be a hard argument for me to even, with my vote, go like this. Man, I don't know how you don't look at that and say that's historic.
Yeah. Well, you see the way they're changing the game. There's no doubt about it with the way that they utilize him with his legs, with the fact that, they do that count. If you don't have enough people in that box, man, at any time, he's gone. And you see he's going in untouched. See, that's why, my whole thing is I'm thinking about him staying healthy. See, because I've always been taught that quarterback, part of that quarterback's job is staying healthy. That's part of you. Because if you don't stay healthy, then it just upsets the whole team. So now he is pretty smart about it, even though he does take some shots every now and then. Most of the time he's on the ground, he's running out of bounds. That's what I like to see. See, because right now they've worked so hard to get to where they're at right now. You cannot, try to get another 5 yards and put the whole season at risk. So, I see the way they utilize him, and it really is. I mean, it's basically got a knife at the throat of the other defensive coordinator, because when he moves a certain number of people out of that box, a guy that can run like he is, he's running through there untouched, running into the end zone. I mean, like the end of the Colts game. Come on. You're going to let the quarterback go in like that? He goes in untouched? I mean, if you can get that, I can see where you take advantage of it. I mean, if you got a guy can run like that. But
you know what, though, Garry?
He cannot get hurt, though. Come on. Can't run that risk.
Gary, I'm going to show you something here that I saw that I think the respect level of Hurts has improved. Also with the officiating.
Yeah, okay.
If you remember in that preseason game against the Jets, he got lit up on the sidelines.
Yes, he did.
And remember when Nick and all those guys blew up? Mulata had an ass about it.
That's right.
I watched him in that game yesterday against the Giants, and I kept looking over at my wife going, you and me, Gary, he's tiptoeing up that sidelines. I'm going to put you under the bench, dude.
That's right.
I'm going to hit you like I'd hit a running back.
That's right.
You know what you're starting to see some of the opposing teams do?
Yeah.
And the referees?
Yeah.
They're protecting him.
They are protecting him.
And I think that's respect.
Yeah, I think it's respect. And I think that, and not even just with him, it's just that's the way the game is being played. You see the Eagles. Hey, that's the quarterback. That's the quarterback. So we could come in here with a late shot, but they're not. And clearly with Jalen, his name is growing around the league. I mean, guys are taking a look at what he's doing, and they see the way the Eagles are wiping people out. I mean, guys on every team will look over there and say, man, do you see what they did to the Giants? My goodness. You see what they did to the Titans? So I think that there is a respect there, and so guys are backing off some. But it's the refs too, and it's the league. Come on. The league knows that this guy's a star, man. You start talking about him, MVP. Everybody's hearing his name mentioned, along with he got a chance to win the MVP. So a guy moves up to a certain level, and whether players want to admit it or not, they regard that guy differently because of that status. And he is moving into that status, that stratosphere, I want to say, because of all this talk about MVP. And the way they're playing,
absolutely is. Gary, would you agree that the second most productive player and most important person, skill-wise, boy, Miles Sanders, man, 144, 17 carries or whatever it was, 20-some carries I think he had in the ball game here. 17 carries for 144, 8 yards a carry. And not only that, Wink Martindale brought all kinds of complex blitzes on him, and he was dynamite in picking up. Jalen Hurts had no threat of being sacked because of what he did, in block and release. I'll tell you something. Are you really going to allow that guy to walk out the building with a 1,400-yard year? Ooh. And I'll tell you, and Gary, you let him walk. People are like, well, we got draft choice. I go, you may have draft choices, but you have a 1,400-yard back in your building now. Yeah. And he's 25. Yeah. And you're going to let him, Gary, you think they let him walk?
Well, that's a tough decision. And now I came into the season with the belief that they were going to let him walk. Okay. But I knew what kind of talent he had, though. But I didn't know whether he was going to be able to harness it and really be able to put together this level of a season. I didn't think he was going to have this good of a season. And it's not even the yardage because they haven't given the ball to him a lot. Look, he had 17 carries yesterday.
I mean,
that's not a whole lot. That's not even 20 carries. So they haven't been giving the ball to him a lot, but he still has been very productive. And the big thing he's done is he's picked up the blitz. He's made the adjustments, to where, he hadn't done that in the past, been as stellar and consistent about that. And he's done a good job catching the football too. So he's done everything they could have asked. And the kid is just extremely talented. Honestly, I had almost come to the belief that maybe Miles is never going to live up to all the talent he has. Because you see the way he did those guys when he broke out of there, and the guys take the wrong angle, and they don't even touch him. He's running into the end zone because he has got that type of speed where when he opens up, man, he's scary. He got good size, and everything's coming together for him. I'm happy for him, but he's going to really put the pressure on the Eagles to re-sign him. To let him just walk, that's going to be tough. But I think I was under the belief that he was going to walk. That's
so you think that's closed that conversation maybe to where if you're the organization, because look at the decisions. I told you
Yeah.
Like last week, there's 14 free agents to 16 free agents.
Yeah.
Signing Bradbury and Gardner Johnson have to be a priority. But, boy, I'll tell you, watching him picking up the blitzes, Gary,
I know.
his vision, I thought, got better this year, too, running in traffic.
Yes, he has.
And you know what? You may not be throwing him the ball in the screen game, but I'll tell you, his other true asset, he's a fabulous pass protector. And you know this, some of the guys that don't see the field, because they can't pick up those exotic blitz schemes that defenses throw at you. And I thought he was spectacular yesterday. I thought he was actually the player of the game because 144, the pass protection, he was unbelievable yesterday.
Well, and he stacked up a number of games in a row where he's playing at an elite level. I mean, doing a great job. And the thing I loved about him is, he likes to take everything outside. He's starting to get north and south. North and south, Miles. I hear him saying it, practice over there. Hey, north and south. Because, he's got that speed and he's come up where he's used to being able to take everything outside and take it the distance. But, in the NFL, the field is smaller because the guys are so fast. And you can try to take it outside, but you're not getting there because these guys are too fast for you to get out there. But he still has that type of speed, which yesterday you could see the way he did that safety. That safety thought he had a shot at him, and he went in untouched because he got that type of.
He made a business decision.
Yeah. He couldn't get there. But I'll tell you that, and I think Miles, you see this going on him too. He's just getting better and better, and I don't think he's gotten near his zenith yet. And that's where later on. They don't want to leave, let him go. And then you look up and you see how good this guy really has become. But they got some decisions to make, man. They got this decisions to make. And I tell you what, as great as all of this is, I was here through all the Donovan McNabb career. Donovan McNabb, they went 5 times. They went to the NFC Championship game. They won one of them. But they left without any rings. They lost to the Patriots. See, as great as a season that they're having, when it gets to the playoffs, all that matters is that day. You better be the better team that particular day. And so that's where they have got to be in there, man. It's great. You guys won all these games. When you play San Francisco, it's going to be the best team that day. When you play Dallas, the best team that day. And so that's where and they got to know that. I hear them talking about it, but they have to know that.
It's either going to be a turd burger or it's going to be cake.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's what the playoffs are. It's either nobody cares what your record is in the playoffs. Cares. They care every single week. Gary, I'm going to make a comment about the Niners you just brought up.
Okay.
And you tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I think the Philadelphia Eagles have played the most consistent football, and I said this all year long, even the Washington game.
Yes.
But let's not get away from this. The Giants are atrocious.
Yeah, they are.
The 49ers have beat up the Dolphins and the Buccaneers, which means Tua and Brady in consecutive weeks, and they annihilated a team that won the Super Bowl 2 years ago and the GOAT and Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Am I wrong when I say that? I think the 49ers are playing the best football of any team in the league over the last 2 weeks, but yet the Eagles have played the most consistent. Is that fair?
I think that's close. I would have to, I didn't see all of their games, but they are playing on an elite level, and I see, a team that's doing this. See, that's the thing is when you got a team doing that. Now, in fairness to the Eagles, the last 2 weeks, I got to give them credit, but I can see where I look at.
You're beating David Mills. You're beating Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Tua was in the conversation for the MVP, and Brady went into that game yesterday with 2 picks.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone is looking at Brady like, oh, he's not having. That's not true. Brady he's on pace for 5,200 yards this year.
That's
it's
right.
not like. He
It's
throws
not
the
him.
ball 700 times because they
That's
have to. They can't run the ball. Leonard Fournette, I don't know what happened, but you still beat the GOAT.
The thing I see with the Niners, man, I see a hungry football team, man. I see a great team there. So
that McCaffrey kid is special.
Yeah, you better believe it. And that defense they got, man.
Dude, Bosa's got 14 and a half sacks.
The bottom line is, man, the thing you're saying is true, which is, look, and the Eagles better notice, they got their work cut out for them, man. It's going to be a beautiful thing because you're going to see a great football game of two outstanding teams, but somebody's got to go home.
Absolutely. Gary,
somebody got to go home.
I got two more questions for you
and
here.
Cry.
That Christmas Eve game.
Yeah.
I said this about Jalen Hurts and his opportunity to win the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts is not in the conversation with those other guys because people in the media, I watched all the shows today. Carton, by the way, Craig Carton texted me and he goes, well, I started my show out this morning with the Eagles, and I said, well, you're one of the only ones. Everyone's talking about how great everyone looked and how great Purdy looked and how great Burrow looked and what have you.
Yeah.
You're going to have the Christmas Eve audience. You're probably going to have 45 million people watching you play that night.
That's right. That's right.
You think that's when Jalen Hurts becomes a national star? If he takes care of business and wins that game, because the Cowboys are going to bring the viewership.
That's right.
The Eagles are going to bring the record.
Yeah.
And you got everything colliding there.
That's
and
right.
the Tiffany division, the NFC East.
Yep.
And it's on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
To me, here is like the audition, because everyone I think is doing this, Gary. Man, Jalen's really having a great year and his team's having a great season. But you don't talk about him the same way you do Joe Burrow.
That's right.
You don't talk about him like Josh Allen. You think that narrative changes if they take care of business and go out there and beat the Cowboys up?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. He is stepping on the big stage. That's what he is. He's stepping up on the big stage. And if he continues to play, and this team to play like this, they are going to become, in fact, the Eagle following is just going to grow. You know how people, how people get on that bandwagon, man. They start getting, is there some movement? Could I get up there? Is there a chair up there? Everybody wants to get on that bandwagon. So I definitely think everything will move up a number of notches. And because of the way the kid is, a lot of people are going, after you see the way he carries himself, and people just get on. They like the kid,
It's a great story.
Yeah, it's a great story. And so I think that's the type of setting, man. If you do it then, well, come on. We look down through the years. When the players have just become, elite of the elite.
Gary, watch this. That game
team
on Monday night, I think it was maybe 3 years ago between Mahomes and Goff and the Rams. And it went back and forth, and everyone went, holy shit.
Yeah.
Mahomes is some ball player.
That's right.
It changed that Monday night for him.
Yeah.
This could be that moment for Jalen Hurts on Christmas Eve.
It will be a coming out party. People know of him, but to get a chance to see him shine the way they're shining now, I mean, it's a special thing. And if that happens, you'll see it's just like lighting a fire, man. It is going to be like all of the people put the fireworks or the fireplace, whatever it is. There's going to be a fire started. Everybody's getting on board. And that's what you're going to have because he's a great kid. People rooting for him to see him shine like that against the Cowboys. Whew.
Hey,
and boy, that's a special thing.
I can't wait for that moment. Gary, you and I both pointed out when Howie made this move, and Howie's I got to give him credit, and you got to give him the victory laps here. Mm-hmm. I'm actually seeing Fletcher Cox show up now, and I think it's because the additions of Joseph and Sue and the limited reps are more quality reps for him. You see the same thing happening?
I see the same thing. I mean, all of a sudden Fletcher is showing up. You're seeing the quickness that he's had in the past. And I think the point might be is that he's asked to do less, and you're getting better. You're getting prime plays out of him, and maybe asking him to play too many plays because come on, as you get older, come on, you don't have as much. So he's giving him what he's got, but he is really playing well, and you see flashes of him, with his quickness and things that I haven't seen them in a while. And you see that Fletcher's really playing some good football. And, of course, as he goes, it affects all these other guys because, he's one of the leaders there, no doubt about it.
Finally, I want you to give me an honest answer on 2017 versus today.
Mm-hmm.
Were you more sold that Carson Wentz was the future when the Eagles opened up the checkbook and gave him $32 million than you are today on Jalen? Or are you in the same boat? Or are you more convinced that Jalen today is the future? Because remember, last year, Kyler Murray got out to an 11-1 start, came in with $46 million, and this year they don't have a 500 record.
Well, I'll tell you, because of what happened with Carson, I think I've been tougher on Jalen. The thing that I look at is I don't want to see a guy out there just ad-libbing. No, play the game from the pocket, okay? And the thing that Jalen does is it's not as much ad-libbing. Now, he will do some, but for the most part, he's letting the play. The play they called in the huddle, that's what he's executing, giving it a chance before he starts to, ad-lib and try to create things. And because clearly you cannot be dependent on the ad-libbing. Because, I played with a guy, Randall Cunningham. Randall, early in his career, unfortunately, and see, Buddy Ryan told him, look, all we need is 4 big plays out of your game. Now, that's fine, but that's not the way you develop a quarterback. Quarterback has got to be able to come out of the huddle, give the play that was called a chance. Or your receivers stop believing that, hey, they're going to get the ball. Give the guy a chance to run the play. Then you do something off of that. Of course, if you have a blitz or something like that where you got to make a decision quickly, that's different. But he gives the play a chance, then he will use his legs and he will ad-lib. And you can see where he's getting better and better, reading what they're in, to where he knows what they're in. You can see the confidence. Oh, I see what they're in. You know where he's going. He's taking the ball to where they're weak.
But Gary, I agree. But everyone in the front office, though, Gary, gave him. I see people over here saying this. Are you kidding me, Jalen? Well, no, because you gave him $32 million. I mean, that front office was 100% sold that Carson Wentz was the future, so was everybody in Philly. So they bitched about Hurts being the second pick.
Yeah, you're right.
But today. With what they're doing right now, you think the front office is more sold today?
Okay, no, I said I'm talking about myself.
Okay,
I like some of the things, but no, I don't know that they're sold. No, I don't know because I think because of the last time, I think they probably are going to try to string this out as long as they can. Because
so you think they franchise tag him out? So wait a minute, you can't do that because he's got one more year left. So you don't think they're going to address it in the offseason?
I think
he's got 1 year left.
I think there's a chance, but it's really going to depend on how if they win the whole thing, if they continue, things continue like it is. I think it's too much pressure on them.
Correct.
They got to make a move, but I think that they will try to delay it as long as they can. But I think there might be pressure because of his play. And because of, like you mentioned about this game coming up against the Cowboys, where his performance is going to pressure them so much, where they got to do something,
Absolutely, man.
So I think it's going to be interesting what happens the rest of the way.
Absolutely, Gary. I can't wait to. This thing is really getting
a lot of
more
fun.
exciting.
I mean, it's a lot of fun. We're right in the middle of the action.
It's amazing. It's really a great run. Gary, got to run. Thank you so much, my friend.
Have a good one.
Boy, I'll tell you what, Garry Cobb just said something that to me is maybe why Jalen Hurts is held to a higher standard. Jalen Hurts is held to a higher standard than Wentz was, isn't he? I never thought about that. Why is... You see, the Eagles gave a guy 30. See, all of you are over here going like this. You're sitting there going, are you crazy? No, the Eagles gave Carson Wentz $32 million. End of story. End of story. No matter what your stupid takes are, you paid him. He's still getting paid because of the stupid shit that Howie did. He's just getting paid in Washington. You made him a generational millionaire. And you're more sold after 13 games. I want to hit on that. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.